Good to have you here. This outcome is all about the tools of the trade, the different types of application software, and working out which one is genuinely the right choice for a given job. Our task in this outcome is to evaluate a range of applications and say what each is best used for. Now, evaluating is more than reeling off features. It means weighing up strengths and limitations and coming to a judgment about the right tool for the task. We'll take word processing, spreadsheets, graphics, and presentation software each in turn, then stand them side by side and compare. Let's settle the vocabulary first. Software is just the programs and instructions that tell the hardware what to do. System software runs the computer itself, the operating system, Windows, Mac OS, or Linux, while application software is what people actually use to get things done. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, a web browser like Chrome. And when applications are bundled and sold together, like Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace, we call that a software suite. It helps to picture the layers. At the bottom is the hardware, the physical machine, and sitting on top of that, the operating system controls it all. Application software runs on top of the operating system, and you, the user, interact with those applications to get your work done. The key thing to hold on to is that an application can't run on its own. It always needs an operating system beneath it. We'll focus on 4 core types that between them cover most everyday work. Word processing handles text documents, spreadsheets handle numbers, tables and calculations, graphics software handles images and design, and presentation software handles slideshows. Each one has its own native file format and a set of tasks it's naturally best suited to, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack. Let's start with word processing. Think Microsoft Word, Google Docs, or LibreOffice Writer, saving in the .docs format. It's your go-to for anything text-based, letters, reports, essays, CVs, leaflets, with features like heading styles, spell check, find and replace, tables, and mail merge. Its great strength is formatting and editing continuous text beautifully, but ask it to crunch a big data set and it quickly runs out of puff. Picture a learner writing a 3-page assignment with headings, a contents page, references, and a diagram dropped in. Because they've used heading styles, the software can generate an automatic table of contents, and spell check plus track changes support both drafting and tutor feedback. When it's finished, they export it to .pdf so the layout can't shift around. For a text-heavy job like that, a word processor is clearly the right call. Next, spreadsheet software, Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, or LibreOffice Calc, saving as .xlsx. This is the home of numerical data, budgets, records, tables, and calculations, built around cells, formulas, and functions like sum, average, and if, plus sorting, filtering, charts, and pivot tables. Its real magic is that it recalculates automatically and turns rows of numbers into a chart in a couple of clicks, though it's not the place for long passages of formatted text. Here's a treasurer keeping the books for a club across a whole year, wanting to see the balance and a chart. Each transaction becomes a row, with columns for the date, description, and amount, and a formula equals sum of the amounts, adds up the totals, while another subtracts expenses from income to show the balance. A chart springs from the data in a couple of clicks, and the moment a new figure is typed in, every total and the chart update themselves. That's the power of a spreadsheet. Graphics software is a broad family, from Adobe Photoshop and the free GIMP to Canva and Inkscape, working in formats like .png, .jpg, and .svg. You'd reach for it to create and edit images, logos, posters, photo touch-ups, icons, and web graphics using layers, cropping, color adjustment, filters, and drawing tools. There's an important split within it too: bitmap editors for photographs and vector editors for logos and diagrams, and that difference is well worth understanding. So let's tease those two apart. A bitmap, or raster, image is made of a grid of colored pixels, formats like .jpg, .png, and .gif, and it's wonderful for photographs, but enlarge it too far and it goes blocky. A vector image, by contrast, is built from mathematical shapes and lines, formats like .svg, and it scales to any size with no loss of quality at all. That's why a company logo is almost always a vector. It has to look crisp on a business card and on the side of a building. Presentation software, PowerPoint, Google Slides, or LibreOffice Impress, saving as .pptx, is built to create slideshows that back up a spoken talk or run by themselves on a display. It gives you slides, layouts, images, transitions, animations, and speaker notes. Its strength is communicating key points visually to an audience, but it's the wrong tool for detailed reading. Slides should summarize, not carry every word. Imagine a learner who has just 5 minutes to present their project findings to the class. Each slide carries a single idea, a short heading, and a supporting image or chart, while the detail they'll actually say out loud lives in the speaker notes. A consistent template and tidy transitions keep the whole thing looking professional, and the audience follows the visuals while the learner fills in the story. That's presentation software doing exactly what it's designed for. Let's line all four up together. Word processing is best for formatted text documents in .docs, but weak at big calculations. Spreadsheets own numbers and calculations in .xlsx, but aren't for long, written text. Graphics software rules images and design in .p or .svg, yet is no good for text-heavy content. And presentation software is made for talks and slideshows in .pptx, but poor for detailed reading. Seeing them side by side makes the trade-offs obvious. The guiding principle is simple: match the tool to the task. Text in a word processor, numbers in a spreadsheet, a talk in presentation software. Use the wrong one and you create work for yourself, like forcing a long budget into a word table that won't add up on its own. Plenty of real jobs actually combine tools. You might analyze figures in a spreadsheet, then drop the chart into a report or a slideshow. Remember, evaluation is about justifying why a tool fits, not just naming it. Take a concrete head-to-head, a budget in a word table versus a spreadsheet. A word table is fine for a small static list, but it won't recalculate, so every total has to be worked out by hand, and errors slip through unnoticed. A spreadsheet is built for exactly this. Formulas recalculate instantly, and sorting, filtering, and charts come as standard. For anything involving numbers that change, the spreadsheet wins hands down. Modern versions of these tools have moved into the browser. Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace run the same familiar applications online and save straight to the cloud, which changes how we work together. Several people can edit the same document at once and watch each other's changes appear live. And version history lets the team roll back to an earlier draft if something goes wrong. That shift has made collaborative and remote working far smoother than it ever was with older, single-user software. It's worth a word on accessibility, because well-made files are easier for everyone to use, not only people with disabilities. Add alternative text to your images so a screen reader can describe them. lean on the built-in heading styles and choose good color contrast and readable fonts. And saving a final fixed copy as a .pdf keeps the layout the same on any device. These small habits mark out professional, thoughtful work. Pulling the evaluation together, each of the 4 types is strongest at the job it was designed for, and there simply isn't one best application. The right choice always depends on the task in hand. The most effective users happily combine tools, shifting data between them to play to each one's strengths. So choose deliberately, rather than out of habit, and your work comes out faster, clearer, and more polished. Let's recap. Application software runs on top of the operating system and lets people carry out tasks, and our 4 types each have a home: word processing for formatted text, spreadsheets for numbers, graphics for images, presentation software for talks. Graphics itself splits into bitmap for photos and vector for logos. Evaluating means weighing strengths against limitations and matching the tool to the task, rather than reaching for the same thing every time. And cloud suites add live collaboration and version history, while good accessibility practice makes your files usable by all. So there's your tour of application software, and more importantly, how to judge which tool earns its place for a given task. If you want to dig deeper, the Microsoft Office step-by-step books are a friendly, hands-on way to build real fluency in Word and Excel, and the free GCF Global tutorials let you practice each application at your own pace. The ICDL workforce materials are a solid reference on documents, spreadsheets, and presentations, and the BCS magazine, IT Now, is great for seeing these tools used out in the wider world. Do explore the ebooks and journals on the unit's Moodle page before you tackle the assignment.